once again to our morning devotions, experiencing God through the seasons of life, where we explore God's love for widows. And our devotion this morning is going to come from the book of Genesis, chapter 38, verses 11 to 14. And the title of our devotion is Desperate Widow. I will read in your hearing. Then said Judah to Tamar his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow at thy father's house, till Shelah my son be grown, for he has said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did." And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted, and went up his sheep shearers to Timnah, he and his friend Hira the Adullamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, "Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnah to shear his sheep." And she put her widow's garments off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place which is by the way to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him to wife. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. The story of Tamar is a story that shows us of one very desperate widow who had not been dealt with well, according to this story. When her husband died, she was given to the second son, who did not want her to have an inheritance. I think he just wanted to enjoy being with this woman, but did not want to have children with her. And the Lord killed that young man, so the Bible says. And when this young lady had lost two husbands, the father-in-law tells her to go back to her parents' home and remain as a widow there. The father-in-law then promises her the third son. But as she watched the third son grow, she realized the father-in-law was not going to give her this young man, because he was also scared that the Lord would kill him. And she devised a plan. When she heard that her father-in-law, who was now widowed, was going to shear his sheep, she waylaid him dressed as a harlot and waylaid her father-in-law. And in the process, the father-in-law also then, the story, I would want to urge you to read the whole story from the book of Genesis chapter 38. But this lady in the end is pregnant by her father-in-law. Do you know there are some stories in the Bible that you wonder why they are there? This is a very desperate, it's unthinkable for someone to even think of sleeping with their father-in-law. But here is one very desperate young lady, widow, who has taken matters into her own hands. And oftentimes when we do that as people, when we take matters into our hands, we make a shipwreck not only of our lives, but even of the lives of those that are involved in our scheming. This lady was scheming, she was bitter, and because of her bitterness, she found herself doing this very, this very deep thing. I wouldn't want to even think about it. But in life, this might be one case where a lady has been desperate. But how many widows are so desperate that they've gone out of their way and have done things that they think will make things right for them, because all she wanted was to have a child in this family and to have a child of her own, because I think it was important in those days to have a child who would look after you if you were a widow. And she takes matters into her hands. God had designed for her to be a mother somehow, I want to believe so, because her story is part of the story of salvation. But I don't think God designed it that way. She did not wait to see how God wanted to design a story. She designed herself. She took matters into her own hands. And it is a missing miracle how God would have made her a mother. It is a missing miracle, and it's not the only story that we see of people being desperate and cheating God out of giving them an opportunity to have a story with a happy ending. Her story is a disaster because it's got a lot of embarrassing moments where the father-in-law is then is sending for money to pay for the services of a prostitute, only to realize that it was his daughter-in-law. what an embarrassing story, what a desperate woman. My prayer is that you be not that desperate to end up doing things that are not supposed to be done. Even when we speak about this situation, we don't understand why God allowed it to be part of the story of salvation, but it's a big part of the story of salvation. And this woman denied the Lord to show us how he was going to make a part of that story. Just like many other stories where we have missing miracles, where we have stories that do not end well, my desire is that may you be not that desperate. May you not be that desperate to the point of shipwrecking, maybe even closing the doors of your own salvation. Because when we behave like this, when a widow behaves like this, the story does not end well. May the Lord help you as you realize the Lord always has a way of making things right for you. If this young lady had waited upon the Lord, we would be reading a different story. But she did not wait. She was too desperate to finish her own story. She was too desperate to make sure things went right for her. And may you not be that desperate. When things don't seem like they are going well, could it be that maybe you've stepped out of the power of his purpose for your life? Because God always has a purpose, and his purposes will prevail. And he knows how to end each story well. And your story should end well, no matter how bad the situation. God knows how to write your story and to end it beautifully. May the Lord bless you as you wait upon the Lord and not upon your own understanding.